Hi, good morning. Welcome to Felixstowe Live, coming to you today from the port of Felixstowe. We've just been down here today filming a ship called Navios Vermilion, which was actually rather nice. I have to tell you, I do like red ships quite a lot because they stand out and they look good. And it goes well with the blue, or in Felixstowe's case, the grey of the river and the harbour. So there you have it, and that's what we've just been watching and filming. And the film of Navios Vermilion will be up later today. So let's just clear up where we are. It's Saturday, the 6th of March 2021. My name's Chris. We're here just having a look over at the port, and we've got a couple of topics to talk about. And let's just greet people. Good morning to you, Jenny Patterson, and good morning to you as well. Let's see where you are, Tish from Woodbridge. Good heavens, I've got foreigners here. And Tina Battle. Hello, Tina. Hope you're doing all right, mate. And who else have we got? We've got Jennifer from Colchester. Heavens, we've got lots of people today, haven't we? We've got more. My goodness, we have got a lot. I've just been looking up there. Don't forget, if you like what we do on Felixstowe Live, do give us a like on the video, because to be honest with you, we get rated on that, and people like to know that you like us. So there you have it. What am I going to talk about today? Well, I have got a little topic to talk about that I'd be fascinated to hear any comments on. I'd love to hear your comments on this particular one. And this particular one is Felixstowe as a Freeport. Now, the interesting bit, the thing that a lot of people have asked is, well, what is a Freeport? And we're going to do increasing amounts of stuff about what a Freeport actually is over the coming few weeks, I hope, certainly, and probably over a longer time, I think, because let's be blunt and say Freeports are subject of the month, and in Felixstowe they're going to be subject of the year, I should think, really. To give you a clue, first of all, let's do this one first and give you an idea of where the new Freeports are that the government has decided to allocate at this stage. At this moment in time, there are 8 Freeports in being established, or going to be established, in the UK. In the north of England, Teesside, then there's Humber, Liverpool, East Midlands, Felixstowe and Harwich, Thames, Solent and Plymouth. Now, the interesting thing from my point of view, as someone who's interested in essentially Felixstowe, is what the others are. And it's interesting to see that the Thames Freeport and the Solent Freeports are actually centred effectively around DP World container facilities, as Felixstowe's or as Freeport East is centred around Felixstowe's. So it's an interesting one. The reality of it is that the other one is that I just had to look up this one, and this is Daniel May's. Well, I think there was one up yesterday, wasn't there, Daniel? Have a look. But anyway, the Freeports that we've got currently, 3 of them are actually the UK's biggest container ports, and the 4th one is a not quite so big container port. So we've got Felixstowe and Harwich, which is the biggest container port in the UK in terms of the amount of boxes it moves. Then we've got Southampton. Then we've got Thames, which of course is London Gateway, and then we've got Liverpool City region, which is an interesting one because Liverpool has got big cranes, but they don't currently have very many big ships. I think they're doing, but they're not doing that well. What do you think, Clive? Let's have a look. More services for Felixstowe. Are you convinced? At the moment, I have to say that I'm not terribly convinced until we see just how it happens. I think the reality is that it's probably not going to make that much difference for Felixstowe in terms of the shipping front. I suspect it's going to make quite a decent difference in the area related to the warehouse and factory front off the port site. There is some considerable space actually at the port site that the port has been trying to market for a lot of years, and we'll talk about that if you wish at some later stage, or now if you have a point to raise. Let's just keep in touch with people, and that's Joanne. Good morning to you, Joanne. Hope you're keeping well. And so there we have it. We've actually got a Freeport coming to Felixstowe. Freeports aren't exactly what people think they are. It's not really the port. The port is kind of the centre of the Freeport, but what you've got around it is around 45 kilometres, and that 45 kilometres of space is the space in which you can put Freeport related businesses. So in other words, what you do is draw a circle that includes the port of Felixstowe, and you draw it in a specific direction so that it can include the things you want it to include, in inverted commas, and that anywhere in that can be part of the Freeport. So in other words, if you have a warehouse in, let's say, Ipswich, that could be part of the Freeport. If you have a factory, let's say, in Colchester, that could be part of the Freeport. And so it goes, of course, over the river in Harwich. That is already part of the Freeport. And there you have it. So there you have it. It's an interesting one. The Freeport is, I guess you'd say, more of a concept than a physical reality. It's not all in one location. It can be spread about the place, and it can include quite a lot of external things, factories, warehouses, office spaces, etc. We'll be doing a lot more, I think, on the Freeport, and one of the things that we will be doing is getting some people with a lot more expertise than me, I hope, to give you better explanations so that we can see more clearly how it's going to work. Now, one of the things I also wanted to share with you on the subject just of Freeports, let's just go down and find the piece I wanted to look at. Here we go. This is a shot taken this morning, because this is, if you don't recognise it, this is our friends at London Gateway, the port on the Thames. It's a major container port. As you can see, it's currently got 3 large berths. Those large berths currently accommodate 2 large container ships, plus the one that's actually illustrated in our picture here, which is the Yeoman Bridge. And Yeoman Bridge is not a container ship at all. She is a bulker, and she carries stuff like essentially like sand and gravel. And what's happening now, as you will see, is that she's berthed at the far end of London Gateway, in their berth 3, and she's actually, I suspect, I'm not entirely sure, but I suspect she's actually delivering substrate, i.e. sand and gravel, to berth 4 that's being built currently, or that I understand is being built currently at Gateway. Gateway have kept their heads down a bit about this because they actually put out a tender a couple of years ago, and I think then things went kind of wrong because nobody quite knew what was happening with Brexit. But I think they're now going ahead with berth 4, and the reality is that London Gateway does need berth 4 because currently they've got ships anchored out in the sunk deepwater anchorage waiting for spaces to go in. So there you have it, really. It's a bit exciting, whereas Felixstowe is not spectacularly full. So let's now go back to the Felixstowe or the Freeport East thing and talk about that. Okay, let me just have a break for a minute myself, because I just need to check out a couple of little bits and pieces on here. Back in literally a few seconds. Don't go away. Okay, so let's now go on to the next bit about the Freeport. The thing about the Freeport that's interesting is that we've had quite a lot of publicity about it so far, as you know, and I've no doubt you've read quite a bit of it. But it's quite a slow process from here on in, because we've been in touch with the Freeport people and asked them what happens next. And what they've said is that in terms of the next steps that they'll be taking, the initial piece will be to finalise the Freeport East structure with the government, before working up their detailed business plan. That will need to take into account more details from the government about how the customs regime, the tax regime, and the planning regime will actually work, and funding. And they're keen to see what the government comes up with in those directions and see what they actually can work out, because they've got to get all the numbers right, they've got to get all the plans right, and they've got to be able to understand what the government will allow them to offer as a free port. So it's quite an interesting kind of situation at the moment from the Freeport point of view. We don't quite know where it's going, and to be honest with you, I think we're not going to see much out of it for another probably 6 months before they're able to really start doing much at all. So it's going to be, I hope there'll be steps taken and there'll be action taken within 6 months to a year, and once we get that rolling, then we'll start to know what direction we're going in. But it is going to be quite a slow process, I think, at this stage, just to see how they get along and to see what happens next. So we'll be doing more about Freeports, I think, in the coming few days and weeks, and I hope I can bring you a lot more expertise than I can particularly offer on this. Okay, this is Saturday Live from Felixstowe Live. We're down at the viewpoint at Felixstowe. I'm just going to joggle my camera about a bit and get into that ship a bit more closely so you can see what's happening. That is the CSCL Atlantic Ocean, and she is due to depart from Felixstowe at around 12 noon today. I'm showing that on the Harwich Harbour Authority's website, that she's due to leave about 12 noon. As far as I know, that hasn't been confirmed yet, but it looks pretty damn likely because 2 of the cranes are up, and I think there's only currently 2 cranes working on her, which means that they're doing the last knockings of taking boxes on and off. They're probably putting more on than off at the moment. I'm not sure where she's due to go next. I can't look because I'm stuck in this particular page. Such is life. Don't forget that Felixstowe Live really exists just to provide news and information for Felixstowe. If you have anything interesting in the way of a story or in the way of any local news, I'd love to hear from you. Get in touch with us via our Facebook page. There's also a phone number dotted about on that page that you can use to send in information as text, or you can also send in a voice message as well on that number. We don't take calls directly on that number, otherwise I'd spend my life on the phone. There you go. So if you like what we do on Felixstowe Live, give us a like, give us a love. We can do with some of those because it's nice, isn't it? And if you've got anything you want to say to us, I'd love to hear from you. Okay, it is now Saturday morning. It is now coming up to, what, good Lord, 10:15, and it must be time that I go home and have a cup of coffee. Who have I got to talk to? Well, in the meantime, I just want to say to Daniel, I think there are breakfast pics on some of my pages, on my own page, I think certainly 1 or 2, and and I'll try and do more of those, Daniel. I think people do enjoy seeing pictures of fried food, even if they're too healthy to eat it. Okay, it is Saturday morning, the 6th of March 2021. My name's Chris. This is Felixstowe Live. And I'm going to say thank you for watching our little sesh this morning. I hope you found something interesting in talking about the Felixstowe, or Freeport East, as it is now known, which is Felixstowe and Harwich. Don't forget, it's a lot more than just the port, and we wait with bated breath, I think, to see what's going to happen there next. We'll try and get a few experts on and see what people have got to say. If you have what we could call, I guess, an expert view on Freeports, and you know what's happening, and you have a good level of what we can call inside information, then really I'd love to hear from you. And just say thank you for listening, Jenny Patterson, and all the rest of you. Hope you had a nice little experience on Felixstowe Live this morning, watching these guys working away on the ship. Not so much happening now as they get ready to depart in an hour or 2, and there you have it. I will see you soon. Take care of yourselves, and do stay safe, because we need all the viewers we can get. Okay, I'm off, and I'll see you soon. Oh, heavens. I'm on the wrong page. You can't believe it, can you? Stuff happens all the time. See you soon.